Your pocket change might be holding a hidden treasure. Some of the rarest Roosevelt dimes have fetched jaw-dropping amounts, and you wouldn't believe what makes them valuable. From tiny minting errors to unusual designs, these small coins tell big stories that could change your fortune. Stick around, because by the end, you might just look at your spare change in a whole new way. Shiny. Small. Silent. But what if this tiny coin could speak? What if it whispered a secret that could be worth tens of thousands of dollars? Welcome to the world of rare coins, where ordinary objects sometimes carry extraordinary stories. And today, we begin our journey with a dime, not just any dime, but the 1981 Roosevelt dime. A coin you might pass by without a second glance. A coin most people have held, used, and forgotten. But somewhere, tucked away in a drawer, a pocket, or a dusty old coin jar, one of these dimes might be hiding a secret that could change everything. This dime is a part of everyday life. It's light, small, and practical. You use it to pay for parking meters, vending machines, and maybe a quick snack. But beneath that thin copper-nickel surface lies a deeper story, one that only a few sharp-eyed collectors have ever discovered. In 1981, the Philadelphia Mint was in full swing. The machines were loud, fast, and precise, or at least, they were supposed to be. That year, over 676 million Roosevelt dimes were struck at the Philly Mint. That's nearly 7 dimes for every person in America at the time. Almost all of them were perfect, identical, flawless. But not all. Every once in a while, something slips through. A blank is slightly misfed. A die is damaged. A collar is missing. The machine hiccups, and in that split second, a mistake is born. A dime like no other. A dime with character. A dime with value far beyond its face. Now let's focus on those rare mistakes. These aren't just random smudges. These are dramatic, eye-catching, undeniable mint errors. Things like an off-center strike, where part of the design is pushed so far to one side that the edge of the coin is blank. Or a clipped planchet, where it looks like a bite has been taken out of the rim. Or doubling, when the coin is struck in such a way that numbers, letters, or design elements appear twice, slightly overlapped. You might also see die breaks, raised lines, cuts, or blobs of extra metal where the die has cracked. Each of these is a mistake, but to collectors, they're treasures. And here's the thing, the value of an error coin is not just about what went wrong. It's about how rare that error is, how dramatic it looks, and what kind of condition the coin is in. A small, barely noticeable flaw. That might get you a few bucks. But a clean, sharp, high-grade coin with a bold, unmistakable error. Now you're talking about real money. When we say rare, we mean rare. Out of hundreds of millions of 1981 dimes, only a tiny fraction escaped with significant errors. Most were caught and melted down. Only a handful made it into circulation. Even fewer were preserved in pristine condition. Some collectors spend their entire lives searching for one coin like this. Now imagine this. Someone stumbles upon a 1981 dime that doesn't look quite right. Maybe they notice it while sorting through an old coin jar. Maybe it comes as change from a store. They flip it under the light and see something strange, the strike is off. The torch on the reverse leans to one side. The date looks slightly doubled. A sliver of the rim is missing. They feel a tingle of curiosity, and a spark of excitement. That person sends the coin in for grading. Weeks pass. The results come back. It's verified, an extreme off-center strike, clear doubling on the date, and a visible planchet flaw. It's an authentic error coin, and not just any error, one of the rarest kind seen on a dime from that year. Word gets out. Collectors take notice. Messages are exchanged, photos are shared, offers are made. And finally, in a quiet, private sale between two high-end collectors, the deal is done. The price? $78,000. Yes, a single dime. 10 cents of metal. Sold for $78,000. That sale shook the coin world. For a modern clad dime, not silver, not gold, to reach that level is almost unheard of. It wasn't just the error. It was the combination of multiple rare errors, the perfect condition, the timing, and the uniqueness of the piece. It was a one-of-a-kind moment in numismatic history. And now, we're telling you this story for one simple reason. Because it could happen again. That next legendary coin could be sitting in someone's pocket right now. It could be hiding in a junk drawer. It could be resting in a piggy bank, waiting to be discovered. And maybe, just maybe, it's already in your hand. So before you spend that next dime, take a moment. Hold it to the light. Look at the edges. Check the alignment. Look for doubling in the letters or numbers. Watch for anything unusual, anything that doesn't belong. Because while most coins are worth only what they say they are, some are worth far, far more. Some coins carry no voice. No history. No character. They pass quietly from hand to hand, completing small transactions, tossed into jars, forgotten in drawers. But every so often, a single coin emerges, one that refuses to be ordinary. One that was never meant to be like the rest. And it all begins with a dime. The year is 1983. The place? Denver, Colorado. The Denver Mint is operating at full speed, punching out millions of Roosevelt dimes every week. These coins were never designed to stand out, they were made for speed, efficiency, and uniformity. But deep inside the rhythmic chaos of machinery and molten metal, a single flaw finds its way into the process. Something small. Something precise. Something no one noticed at the time. A blank planchet, that is, the smooth disk of metal waiting to be stamped, slides into position. Only it's not a US dime planchet. It's not made from the usual copper-nickel clad material. It doesn't belong on the line at all. This disc was intended for a coin from a completely different country. But it's close enough in size, just enough to sneak through. The dies come down with immense pressure. The planchet is struck. Roosevelt's image appears. The D mint mark is pressed into place. And just like that, a coin is born, one that looks like a Roosevelt dime, but isn't. No alarms go off. No red flags. The coin rolls along with the rest, bagged, boxed, and sent out into circulation with millions of others. For years, it lives unnoticed. It jingles in pockets. It might pay for a soda. It might get tossed into a tip jar or traded across a store counter. It's handled, passed along, used just like every other dime. But even in the crowd, it's different. Lighter. Thinner. Off in color, off in sound. Eventually, someone notices. Maybe it's a collector sorting through change. Maybe it's a hobbyist who's trained their eyes to see beyond the obvious. They pick it up, feel it in their palm, and pause. Something isn't right. The coin feels light, not just in weight, but in presence. The texture isn't quite the same. Under magnification, the design seems faint in places. The rim is slightly off. The coin doesn't ring like a normal dime when it drops on the table. They weigh it. The scale confirms it, too light for a standard US dime. They compare it side by side with a regular 1983 D Roosevelt dime. The difference becomes clearer. Then comes the real test, expert verification. And that's when the truth is revealed. This dime, struck in 1983 at the Denver Mint, is not an ordinary piece of change. It's an ultra-rare mint error, struck on a foreign planchet. A blank meant for another nation's currency accidentally used in a US mint's press. An error like this is not just rare. It's nearly impossible. Errors of this nature don't happen often, and when they do, they're almost always caught before the coins are released. The fact that this one not only made it through, but survived in circulation, and remained in strong enough condition to be authenticated, is remarkable. Collectors call this a wrong planchet error. And it's one of the most sought-after mistakes in all of modern US coinage. But not all wrong planchet coins are equal. This one had more going for it: clear visible differences, minimal wear, and full design elements still present despite being on an incorrect base. As word spread quietly among serious numismatists, the value of this coin began to rise. It wasn't a matter of demand. It was a matter of uniqueness. There simply wasn't another one like it. A perfect storm of error, timing, and preservation. And eventually, it found a new home in the hands of someone who recognized exactly what they were holding. The journey of this dime is almost poetic, born from accident, passed around unknowingly, and finally recognized for what it truly was. A silent traveler carrying hidden value. Think about it. How many other coins are still out there, overlooked, dismissed, sitting in a jar on a shelf? The thought alone is thrilling. It could have been dropped on the sidewalk. Left behind on a counter. Mixed into a coin roll and forgotten. But somehow, it survived, long enough to be noticed. The person who found it didn't just spot a strange coin, they uncovered a piece of minting history. A reminder that greatness sometimes wears a plain face. That coin became a conversation piece, a collector's dream, a symbol of how even a flaw can lead to something extraordinary. It's a testament to the patience, knowledge, and curiosity that fuel the world of rare coin collecting. The amount exchanged for this tiny piece of metal was nothing short of stunning. A coin that entered the world as a mistake, had become a prized treasure. That 1983 Roosevelt dime, with its foreign DNA, its delicate imperfection, and its accidental birth, sold privately for a staggering sum of $75,000. All because of one moment in 1983. One mistake. One press of a die onto the wrong piece of metal. It's a reminder that the rarest things often hide in the most ordinary places. Not every treasure shines like gold. Some come clad in copper and nickel, quietly waiting to be found. Next up, we're diving into a coin that seems familiar at first glance, a 1991 Roosevelt dime minted in Philadelphia. But don't be fooled by its everyday appearance. This little piece of metal carries a secret that sets it miles apart from the countless others made that year. The Roosevelt dime is one of America's most enduring and iconic coins. First minted in 1946, it was created to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, whose leadership through the Great Depression and World War II left a lasting legacy. The design features Roosevelt's dignified profile on the obverse, with his name etched clearly beneath. The reverse showcases an olive branch, torch, and oak branch, symbolizing peace, liberty, and strength. This design has remained largely unchanged for nearly 8 decades. By 1991, millions of these dimes had been minted. The Philadelphia Mint, where this dime was produced, was one of the main hubs churning out coins for daily commerce. Every day, the mint's presses struck countless coins, their repetitive rhythm echoing through the halls, producing currency that would flow seamlessly into the hands of millions of Americans. In theory, these coins were uniform, perfectly struck, flawless, and indistinguishable from one another. The machinery was calibrated to exacting standards, and quality control procedures were designed to catch any deviations. But even the best systems are not immune to occasional errors. Sometimes, in the chaos of mass production, the unexpected happens. This particular dime is an error coin. And in the world of numismatics, the study and collection of coins, error coins are like hidden gems, sometimes more valuable and fascinating than even rare mintages or precious metals. They're the imperfect offspring of a process designed for perfection, mistakes that escaped notice and went on to become coveted objects of curiosity. So, what makes the 1991 Roosevelt dime error so remarkable? This dime is known for an especially striking anomaly, a double strike error. But this is no faint doubling or a small doubling of the date or lettering that might pass as a minor imperfection. This error is a bold, unmistakable layering of 2 full impressions, slightly shifted, creating what looks like a ghostly second image right across the coin's surface. Picture the original strike of the coin's design, crisp and clear. Then, before the planchet, the blank metal disc, had a chance to move out of the press, it was struck again, but slightly misaligned. The second impression overlaps the first, causing certain features to double, blur, and cast a sort of shadow over Roosevelt's profile. The date appears duplicated, the Liberty motto seems to have a strange echo, and even the edges of the coin show overlapping rims. This is not a subtle error. It's bold. It's eye-catching. And it immediately sets this dime apart from its countless counterparts. But why does this happen? The minting process is complex. Planchets are fed into presses at incredible speeds. The dies, the steel molds that imprint the design, come down with immense pressure, striking the blank metal and turning it into a finished coin in seconds. If a planchet doesn't eject properly after the first strike, or if a machine jams, the die can strike it again, sometimes slightly off-center or rotated. This results in a doubled or overlapping image. Normally, the mint's quality control teams catch these errors and remove the flawed coins before they ever leave the facility. But occasionally, some slip through, and those are the ones collectors dream of finding. For many years, the 1991 Roosevelt dime with this double strike error remained under the radar. It jingled through the economy, probably unnoticed by most people. After all, it looked close enough to a regular dime to pass casual inspection. It only revealed its secret to the keen eye or the magnifying glass. When it finally came to light in the numismatic community, it caused quite a stir. Here was a modern coin, produced during an era when minting technology was at its peak, showing an error so bold and rare that it instantly became highly desirable. Collectors prize error coins for many reasons. They're tangible reminders that human error, or sometimes just mechanical quirks, can create something unique and unrepeatable. They're fascinating examples of the intersection between artistry, science, and chance. And in the case of the 1991 Roosevelt dime, the error is dramatic enough that it's impossible to mistake. This dime isn't just a small curiosity. It's a statement piece, a conversation starter, a rarity. Because rarity is the foundation of value in coin collecting. Think about it. There are billions of Roosevelt dimes out there. Millions were made in 1991 alone. But how many show this double strike error? A handful. Maybe a few dozen. That scarcity makes all the difference. Then factor in condition. Coins that come out of circulation battered and worn are less valuable. But error coins preserved in good condition, with clear doubling and sharp details, are the holy grail for collectors. They represent a moment frozen in time, a snapshot of an extraordinary mistake. The final value of this small but mighty coin is a staggering $67,000. So the next time you're handed change, take a moment to look a little closer. Because that ordinary dime in your hand might just be hiding an extraordinary secret. Now let's explore a dime that most people would walk past without a second glance. It's small, silver, ordinary to the untrained eye, and yet, this 2002 Roosevelt dime holds a surprise that few could imagine. Minted in Denver in the year 2002, this dime was part of a regular production run. Nothing special was announced. No commemorative series, no low mintage warnings. Just your standard Roosevelt dime rolling off the presses, or so it seemed. But hidden within that sea of ordinary coins, something strange occurred. Somewhere during that year's minting process, a rare error slipped through. Not the kind that causes a tiny scratch or a barely noticeable misprint, this was different. This error changed the entire look of the coin, creating a misalignment so bold and dramatic that even someone with no experience in coin collecting would stop and stare. The coin in question features a major off-center strike, a minting mistake where the die hits the planchet in the wrong position. As a result, the design gets shifted, twisted, or cut off entirely, leaving a distorted and chaotic version of what was meant to be a flawless piece. In this particular 2002 dime, Roosevelt's profile is pushed awkwardly toward one edge. The details look stretched, as if they're melting away. Parts of the date or inscriptions may be missing altogether, while other elements appear unusually thick or warped. The rim is uneven. There may even be blank space where design elements were supposed to be, like a missing corner in an old photograph. It's like watching a coin mid-transformation. Half-formed. Struck in motion. Frozen in error. What makes this error even more valuable is that it still shows the full date and mint mark, key details that let collectors verify its authenticity and origin. Because with off-center strikes, if the date is missing or unreadable, the coin often loses much of its value. But when the error is obvious, the date is clear, and the condition is sharp, that's when you have something special. It's not just a flaw. It's a phenomenon. These kinds of dramatic errors are incredibly rare, especially for modern minting facilities like Denver. The quality control systems are strict. Machines are closely monitored. Most flawed coins are caught and destroyed before they ever reach circulation. So when one like this slips through, it becomes a prized survivor, a lucky escapee with a story. And that story matters. Because coin collecting isn't just about shiny surfaces or perfect designs. It's about history, mystery, rarity. And in this case, a coin that was never supposed to look like this, but did. For collectors, finding an off-center dime like this is like striking gold. It's not just that it's rare, it's how visibly different it is. You don't need a magnifying glass or expert knowledge. This dime speaks for itself. It says, I'm different. I'm unique. I'm valuable. Now, imagine being the person who found it. Maybe it was sitting at the bottom of a change jar. Or handed out as part of your grocery store change. Maybe someone was sorting through a roll of dimes, hoping to find something interesting, and suddenly, there it was. An obvious misstrike. A dramatic error. A dime that practically shouted, "Look at me." That moment of discovery. It's what keeps collectors searching. The chance that a routine coin could become something extraordinary. And it's not always experienced collectors who find them. Sometimes, it's everyday people, students, cashiers, retirees, who stumble upon a treasure they never expected to hold in their hands. The 2002 Roosevelt dime is a perfect example of how a minting error can elevate an ordinary coin into something legendary. And in pristine condition, the value of such an error isn't just a few bucks above face value, it multiplies dramatically. Because rarity doesn't just mean hard to find. It means that out of millions, maybe only a few exist. Maybe even just one. And when rarity meets visibility, when error meets perfection in condition, the price climbs. This isn't the kind of coin you tuck away and forget. It's the kind you protect. The kind you frame. The kind you show off to fellow collectors with pride. A coin that captures attention, sparks conversation, and brings a sense of wonder. It reminds us that even in systems designed for precision, something unexpected can still break through, and sometimes, that's what makes something truly valuable. So what is this off-center 2002 Roosevelt dime worth? Certainly not 10 cents. Not $1. Not even a few hundred. This dime, with its dramatic error, preserved condition, and undeniable rarity, has been valued at an incredible $49,000. That's right. $49,000, for a single dime. And that's not just about the metal, the date, or even the mint. It's about everything that had to go wrong, perfectly, for this coin to exist. It's about the story it carries, the eyes it captures, and the wonder it inspires. In the last coin of our journey, we turn our attention to something more recent, the 2014 Roosevelt dime. At first glance, it looks like any other coin you'd find in your pocket, shining with that modern finish, small, unassuming, easy to overlook. But as we've learned, not all dimes are created equal. Minted in Denver in 2014, this dime is part of the long-running Roosevelt series, a coin that has been part of American currency since 1946. For decades, it's changed hands in silence, spent and forgotten, a humble workhorse of everyday life. But every once in a while, something slips through the cracks, a small flaw in a system built for precision, and it changes everything. Some examples of the 2014 Roosevelt dime are known to carry subtle but significant minting errors. Not the dramatic kind that jump off the coin, but the quieter errors, the kind that demand a closer look. A small shift in alignment, a die clash, a faint doubling in Roosevelt's profile or the inscriptions, they may seem minor, but in the eyes of a collector, they're everything. Because those small, nearly invisible flaws, they're rare. And rarity is what turns ordinary coins into treasures. Imagine this: you're sorting through your change after a quick coffee run, and there it is, a dime that just looks different. The rim isn't quite even. The lettering seems slightly off. Maybe there's a faint ghost-like image behind Roosevelt's head. To most, it would go unnoticed. But to those who know what to look for, it might be the start of an exciting discovery. What makes it even more interesting is the age. This isn't a coin from a forgotten century. It's recent. A coin from a time most of us clearly remember. That means it's still out there, in circulation, in pockets, in drawers and jars, possibly passing through hands every day unnoticed. The condition matters too. Many of these dimes still exist in excellent shape. Some have been pulled from fresh mint rolls or preserved unintentionally by being tucked away and unused. Combine a rare error with an untouched finish, and suddenly that 10-cent coin becomes a lot more intriguing. No official announcement was made about any errors. No widespread warnings were given. And that makes it even more mysterious. These coins aren't listed in every collector's guide. They're quietly discovered, one, by people curious enough to pay attention. That's the beauty of modern rarities. They often hide in plain sight. And just because a coin is common in general circulation doesn't mean each piece is identical. Sometimes, it's in the fine details, a flaw in the die, a tiny shift in alignment, or a missing design element, that value is quietly born. There have even been reports of 2014 dimes with slight off-center strikes or weak edges, where the coin didn't receive the full impression during minting. While those errors are subtle, when preserved in clean condition, they can make all the difference to the right collector. Many of the most valuable finds in coin collecting don't scream for attention, they whisper. And it's only those who take the time to listen, to observe, to inspect carefully, who get rewarded. So if you're handed a 2014 D dime, pause for a moment. Turn it over. Check the alignment. Examine the lettering. Look at Roosevelt's profile and the overall balance of the coin. Because sometimes, it's the small details that hold the greatest value. This is one of those coins that proves you don't have to go digging through centuries of history to find something special. Sometimes, the valuable piece is the one resting quietly in your change dish, waiting to be noticed. Don't rush to spend it. Take a closer look. You might be holding something rare. Something unexpected. A coin that, because of a tiny difference, stands apart from millions. Even small details, a shadowed letter, a shifted rim, or a misplaced mark, could be the clue that unlocks its hidden worth. Coins like this don't always follow the rules. And that's exactly what makes them fascinating. Collectors know that modern coins with unlisted errors can often become tomorrow's most chased discoveries. The 2014 D dime might be one of those coins, quietly valuable, patiently waiting for someone to notice. It's a reminder that even in the most routine moments, a trip to the store, a handful of change, a glance at your pocket coins, you might be 1 second away from a real discovery. So don't overlook the ordinary. Because inside that ordinary could be something truly rare. Let your curiosity guide you. Let your attention to detail lead the way. And while we won't name a price, because no two coins are exactly alike, one thing is certain: under the right conditions, this dime could be far more valuable than what its face value suggests. Thanks for watching and joining us on this journey through some of the most surprising dimes ever minted. If you enjoyed discovering these hidden treasures, make sure to subscribe, tap the notification bell, and share this video with others who love coins as much as we do. There are still so many coins out there with secrets yet to be uncovered, and who knows? The next one might be in your pocket right now. Stay curious, stay observant, and keep collecting. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next one.